All right, this one's going to be about gunners, man. Gunners. Gunners are dudes that, you know, jack off. You know what I mean? To female COs. That's what this is about. So just sit back, enjoy the ride, man. Let me ride. All right? You know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio, man. I'm going to tell you about jackers and gunners. We call them Taliban. You know, Taliban is equivalent to snipers. That's what we call jackers and gunners, snipers. You know, those are the guys that pull out their little, thing, and, they look at the females and they get off. So I'm going to tell you a few different things about how it go so you youngins know what you're going to be missing in prison and what you might succumb to. Now, when I first got locked up back in 1994, I was in Lewisburg. When I got to Lewisburg, they had the gunners and jackers, but, no disrespect to my Cubans, but they was Cubans. It wasn't no black guys, wasn't no white guys, wasn't no Spanish guys. It was just Cubans that was doing that. This back in 94. Cause this is the turn of the crack era when they started putting, the drug dealers in prison. So from them doing that, they put us in prison and, we ain't been down long enough, but at this time the gunners, the Cubans been down maybe 20 years at the time, 15 years. So being without a woman started getting to them. So what they do is, they got jobs like in the kitchen. In the kitchen is what they call main line. That's where you go eat. They got in Lewisburg, they got the kitchen tray where you put your dirty trays in right there, and it's a big window like this, right? Now, with this big window, you put your trays in, and when they're done washing it, they give it back. Hold up, man, hold up. Yeah, hello?
Hey, what's up, Unique? How you doing?
Ahmad, I'm doing a video right now. Who this and where you calling from?
Hey, what's up? It's me, Josh. I'm calling from Ocean Gate.
Oh, okay. What's up, Josh? Yo, I'm knocking the video out. Let me get this out the way and I hit you back, all right?
All right, bro.
All right, family. All right, so now, like I said, they got these little windows to speed it up. I don't like to slow down my show. I like to keep my energy going. They got these little windows, and you put your trays in. When they're done washing them, they put the clean trays up there, and you get them, and the dirty trays go on the other side and so on, and all the staff for the administration, the bigwigs, is at main line at lunchtime every day. From like 10:30 to lunch is over at 12:30. You got the warden, the AW, the psych, the CMS, that's the construction people. You got everybody there, educational staff. And if you got any issues with any department, you could go see them on mainline. If you don't like what they say, you go through the chain of command and go see the person that's in charge of them or above them and just keep it moving and do what you got to do. So now they had all the ladies lined up, and the men in front of this window where you put the trays in. So you got the Cubans that's in there. They're supposed to be washing the trays, and they'll take a tray, and they'll hold the tray in front of them while they sitting there masturbating. You know what I mean? To the women. These are the same dudes, they got to wash our trays. When we got whiff of this, we wound up going in the dish room and just tore it up. I mean, it was teeth everywhere, blood everywhere, because these are the dudes that's there to wash our trays, spoons, forks, cups that we got to drink and eat out of, and they're sitting there playing with their private parts while they're masturbating at the women. So we used to beat them up all the time. So they wound up taking them off the compound and putting them back in the unit that they was in, G unit. Because they was here so long, because they came over from the Cuban refugee crisis from back with Scarface. A lot of y'all know about this, when they brought them over, when Castro sent over a boatload of his worst criminals and said, well, y'all want to, tell us what to do over here? I'm going to send y'all, the people, being that y'all want to act like you care so much about them. So when they came over, they didn't know what to do with them, so they put them in jail. They went in jail indefinite. So this is 20 years later, so here they go in prison, and now we beating them up. They put them back in lockup. So now they back in lockup. I winds up getting into it with the police and winds up in ADX. You know what I mean? I come out of ADX like 99, middle of 99. When I get out of ADX and I get to Allenwood, they're telling me that the black guys are gunning. I'm like, nah, son. You know what I mean? We used to punish them dudes. How y'all let the black guys even fall into that? Black people never even, white people, American people that was in prison, didn't even fall into that back then. But now in the little 4 or 5 years that I've been locked up, I guess a couple of guys, because they've been locked up since like 88, 89, 90. Here it is a decade later. Now they ain't been around no woman, so now their sexual desires is getting the best of them, so they getting there masturbating into women. So now, one of the homies was from the Bronx. Real cool, real cool. His girl used to come see him, but he had like 2 or 3 girls used to take turns to come see him. And one day, I'm walking down, by the Unicorn factory in Allenwood, right? We're in Allenwood now. I'm riding, you know what I mean? That was Lewisburg. We're in Allenwood. So here it is 5 years later. I'm in Allenwood, and I'm walking down the hallway, and I see the homie come racing by me, woof. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, I'll talk to you later. And he going. Then I see this little slim white girl came out. Now, the white girl looked at something like this to give you an idea, This is how the white girl looked that worked in the office. So he's sitting there and he see this pretty white girl, and he got locked up from like 88, so the time been getting to him. So he's sitting there, standing there, looking in the window, and he pulls his genitals out, and he taps on the window, and he wants her to look at him. Because this is what the jacker said. Because I asked him, what do you get out of that? How do you get your joint hard in like, in front of everybody? I don't understand this. So he's like, nah, dog, they be wanting it. You can see the look in their eye. I said, what do you mean the look in their eye? He said, you make sure they looking at you when they doing it. I'm like, what? So he's like, man, I'm telling you, she wanted it. But this little pretty white girl come running out there. She said, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. And then here comes the other homie that was looking for me that's also, light-skinned, but he's a little smaller built. He comes walking in the building. I said, yo, where you at? I said, nah, I'm over here chilling. So as he's walking up to me, she comes out and she hit what they call the deuces, which is the panic button on the walkie-talkie. And she said, there he go, there he go. And they grabbed my man, slammed him on the floor. I mean, they just cold whooped him. They took him and they locked him up for gunning her. But it wasn't him gunning her. It was somebody else, but that person got away and he was coming to see me. You see how mistaken identity is? Now, my man that they locked up for the gunning, he knew who it was because he seen him run by and he knows that he does that. But the one that got charged for it didn't. So now he gets locked up and he can't say to the police, it wasn't me, it was him. So he told the police, it wasn't me. I don't know who it is. I wasn't out here. Look at the camera. I just came in the building. And they're like, nah. She said it was you. We locking you up. You know what I mean? The whole time he know who it is. But we got to keep it gangster. We can't tell on each other. So he gets locked up for it. So when he gets locked up for it, and it was time for him to go to DHO, the homie that actually was gunning, what he do is, because, he knew he was dead wrong, and we got to rectify our wrongs, because that's how men do it, or else he wouldn't have been able to stay on the compound. So what he do is he finds somebody from the South. No disrespect to the South. He finds somebody from the South, and he tells them, yo, I'm going to give you $500. I need you to tell them that it was you that was doing it so we could get the homie out. $500 in jail and nobody's coming to visit you. You got life. That was only like a 300 series shot, 400 series shot, so you don't get nothing but extra duty. You don't even get whole time. So it was a no-brainer. So my man took the $500. He went DHO, and my man called him as a witness, and he came and said it was him. So now when he come out the hole, for the gunning charge that he didn't do, he come to me and he say, yo, that's messed up what the homie did, son. He should have came and got me right away. And I said, dog, what you trying to do? He said, nah, I just want a fair one. You know what I mean? I can't let him feel like he got away with that without me putting my fist in his mouth. You know what I mean? Win or lose, I got to fight for this. And I said, all right. So I go tell the homie, yo, he trying to see you. He said, yo, but I got him out. I got paid to do $500. He's supposed to be happy. He said, nah, I said, he ain't happy. He trying to see you. So they wound up going in the cell. They fighting it out. You know what I mean? But now if they fight it out, we go back to being all right. Because dude never really forgave him for that to be good. But they was all right. They spoke in occasions and he still was in his body about it. But now, let me tell you about how different ways that they do this. You got dudes that be hiding in cells, behind walls, wherever they can, whenever they see a woman around. Like I had a cellie when I was in Atwater. I'm riding, man. Let me ride. I'm in Atwater. I got a cellie. I moves in with this dude, and they told me he was a gunner when I went in. So the first thing I did was tell him, look, dog, if you pull your joint out and I see your joint in the cell, I'm going to punish you. You know what I mean? But I'm going to keep it 100. This is your cell. You understand? So what you're going to do is we're going to put a blanket up, because you got a blanket for when you use the bathroom, separate the joint. So y'all know y'all been to prison. I said we're going to pull the blanket up. So whenever you feel you got the urge, you understand what I'm saying? You put this blanket up like you use in the bathroom, so I don't know what you're doing, and then you do what you want to do on that side of the thing. But if that blanket falls down, I'm telling you now, I'm putting my knife in you. Period. He said, man, I don't be doing that. I don't be doing that. I said, all right, but I just gave you fair warning how to handle that. So he was a respectable dude, He was from Florida. So what he did is, he used to get up early every morning, 7:30. As soon as they call the first wreck move, he knows where every female police work on the compound. So he goes to the unit where he know the female is at that he want to have mind sex with that night, that day. So he go over there, and he had a dude that had a cell close to the police office that could see in the police, right in the office. So he sits there, and he paid the dude like 5 books of stamps. You already know, I already showed y'all. These are books of stamps. That's what we call books of stamps. 5 books, 20 stamps in a book, $5 a book. So he paid him $25 to use his cell for an hour, for the move. So he come in the joint, he go hide in the person's cell, he cover up the back window and turn out the lights where it's real dark in the cell, even though it's daytime, so that you can't see him. But he gets real close to the glass where he's looking out, and he's sitting there watching these females, and he's gunning, meaning masturbate. This is how we doing it. You know what I mean? And the females, some of them would sit there and actually allow him to do it, and because they feel sorry for us, the guys that did that. So now he's sitting there gunning the female out the joint, and the female walked over and opened his cell and said, why are you disrespecting me like that? And he said, man, I ain't disrespecting you all that. They said, you don't even live in here. And he's like, no. So now she's like, yo, just politely leave. I know what you're doing. Don't come back doing my shift. I'm not with it. So he leaves. So now when he leaves, lunchtime comes up. He's in the kitchen lunchtime. You understand? He's sitting at a table with a couple of other dudes from the South. No disrespect to the South. It's just the players in the story. He's sitting there, and there was this sexy, I got to show you a picture so you understand what she looked like. There was this really sexy psychologist worker that looked like that, but she had da-dunk for days, So she was from the Midwest. So they all sitting at the table, and all 4 of them is right by the garbage can and the wall where the psychologist people stand. All 4 of them is sitting there with their hands under the table, their pants open, and they joint in their hand, and they looking at this psych lady gunning her. Everybody know what they doing, but nobody's looking under the table, because if somebody look under the table, they got to put the knife in them. That's the rules in prison, Just like you don't call somebody he cipher truth without the paperwork, because you could lose your life. You don't let anyone see your genitals, because you could lose your life. It all falls in the same. Gunshots to suckers that's on that type of time. Now, so dude is sitting there, and all of them got their joint on. This big, thick, white lady is sitting there. Young girl, she about maybe 30, 31, and she was in great shape, you know what I mean? And she used to wear these shirts with the cleavage, that go down, and the little bras that we wasn't even up on yet, because we been in jail too long. The little push-up bras, you know what I mean, that only holds half the breast and got everything else sitting up, and she'll wear, her police uniform, and she'll wear it open, and, when somebody come and give her something, being that she was about 6 feet, she'll bend over like she's writing on a knee, and everybody's looking at her little breasts is sticking up. And these dudes are sitting there, all 4 of them. like a bunch of geeks. Picture geeks in a cafeteria. This how they gunning them, you know. So people walk by and they look at the table, but they're not looking under the table. They look at the table. They say, "Man, I'm gonna crush this nigga if he disrespect me." You know what I mean? That's how serious it was. So now, that was in Lee County, right? But now when we got out west, our cars are smaller and we got to have straight, good men in our car. So if somebody do that out west, you know, the knife is in them automatically. If a female come to us and say, yo, somebody in your car was pulling his joint out on me, you know what I mean? We got to stab them because we defend the women. You know what I mean? We call that in the prison rape. That's like you raping a woman. You know what I mean? For you to sit there and, you know, gunner. You understand what I'm saying? Without her consent. If she consent, it's consensual. But for dudes to do that is crazy. Because like, let me ride. I had a white girl, you know, no lie. Yeah, I'm going to keep it 100, you know. I'm going to keep it 100. I had a white girl. I told you about her, you know, where I used to work out on top, my shirt out. And she did look just like this white girl, you know, out in the Atwater. So I like to try and exercise my rap to see how good my joint is. So I said to her one day, I said, man, yo, you sure looking good. She said, yeah. I said, yo, Albert, I'm going to be straight up. I said, can I say anything to you? And she said, yeah. I said, nah, I mean, can I really be myself and say anything to you? And she's like, oh, yeah, Unique, you can say whatever you want. I said, Albert, I'm going to keep it 100. I said, I want you to come in my unit when we go back and just lean up on the rail like if you're looking over the rail watching TV. She said, for what? I said, so I can relieve this backed up tension looking at you, you know? And she looked at me and she said, you know? And she said, you know what? I respect you for asking instead of just disrespecting me and doing it. You know what I mean? I said, okay, well, kill the respect. Oh, you're going to do it or not? You know what I mean? You're going to let me go willingly? You know what I mean? And she said, well, I can't tell you yes because it'd be against my job. But if you see me come and I'm leaning over the rail, then, you know, as long as I don't know what you're doing, you could do what you got to do. I said, yo, I've been down. This time I've been out 15. I said, I've been down 15 years. I'm all the way backed up. So we need to make this meeting a little sooner, you know, than later. So I go back to the unit. That day she didn't come. So the next day I see her out there. I said, yo, whatever happened? You didn't come yesterday. She said, nah, I was doing something. She never said she wasn't coming. But she said, nah, I was doing something. They pulled me away and they had me go work in the inside rec because, you know, this was on the outside yard. Da-da-da-da. She said, but, you know, I told you, you know, I don't know when I'm working over there, but if I'm working there, make sure, you know what I mean? You can do what you got to do if you see me stand up in front of your cell, you know? So about a week later, I'm laying down and my celly's in there. You know what I mean? My celly just come in the unit because he heard this lady's working in the unit. This the one that used to go out and go rent cells for $5. He come back in the unit because he see that found out the lady in there. But I just worked out, so I'm laying down and I'm tired. So I see him putting the blanket up that we agreed that he could put up. So I said, yo, my nigga, the door's open. You could do that when the door, if the door's closed. But with the joint, just say I need to use the cell, and then you do what you got to do. But if that door is open, and even if you put the sign up, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, it's going to be an issue. He's like, all right, what can I use the cell? I said, yeah, all right. So I get up to go walk out for him to get ready to use the cell. And when I get out, I see the single white female sitting there, you know? So I said to her, oh, you up here for me? And she said, that's what we agreed on, right? I said, oh, okay. She said, I seen your creep-ass Sully going in there. Tell him to get out of there. You understand what I'm saying? So I go and I say, yo, family, you know, I really got to use the bathroom. You got to step out, you know, because I don't want to tell him that shorty there for me because you don't want to let another man know your business when you're doing anything illegal in prison because you don't want dude to tell on you. So I said, yo, I got to use the cell, son. You got to go use somebody else's cell. So he said, all right, so he leaves. So while we in there, you know, I'm sitting down and I waited for him to go out, got the windows black, and I'm standing in the door, and she's sitting there, and she's rocking back and forth on her heels. You know what I mean? She's changing legs, making her cheeks jiggle a little bit. And then she'll sit there and she'll take one leg and she'll kick it down like if, you know, she's straightening the leg of her pants out. Like if she got a, yeah, I mean, it was crazy. But the whole time, I'm not even going to front. I'm going to keep it 100. Yes, I was getting mines. Right? So now, I'm getting mines while she's doing all this. So she must have heard me, you know, my fist hit the door because it must have got too good and it went. You know what I mean? Hit the door. So she turned her head real quick. When she turned her legs, she's sitting there, and I'm in motion. And as soon as I looked in her eyes, I seen her looking like she was actually taking the pipe. And right there, I busted off. You know, keeping it 100. No, he cipher, monkey cipher. You know what I mean? No, just being 100. So she turned around and she just started smiling. So she opened my door. And when she opened the door, I still got my joint in my hand with the little toilet paper rolled up. And she looked down. She said, "You done now?" You know? I said, "Nah, I could really go for another one." She said, "Boy, you better hurry up." So she went back out there. She said, "You know what? I'm going to do something special for you." So her girlfriend was coming over to bring her lunch. So she calls her girlfriend upstairs, and she's sitting there talking to her girlfriend where both of them is leaning over the rail at the same time while little old me with 15 years in federal prison like a nut for poisoning my community was sitting there watching this big red bone and this little slim single white female. And yeah, I got my man. I'm keeping it 100. That's what we do in prison. I'm on Convict time, tell you how it is. So if you youngins want to go to jail to go through all this to get a piece of loving, go ahead. Because to me, that was some loving. That was some good loving. I had a menage a trois. You know what I mean? With myself and them. So her girlfriend must have wanted to make a rounds. You know, rounds is like to walk around and look in the cells, make sure everything is all right. So she grabs him out of her arm and says, "Hold up." So her girlfriend said, "What's up?" So she looked back and her girlfriend looked back, and now both of them is looking dead in my eyes. And I never even knew her girlfriend was on that type of time to allow nobody to do that. So the both of them look at me, they look at each other, and they start smiling, and I start going even more. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. I mean, I'm going. I'm just keeping it 100. It's the crap that I had to go through, you know? So now, just when I hit it, her girlfriend ran over there and pulled the door, and she said, "Oh my God." You know what I mean? And, you know, I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She said, "Normally, you know, I've never seen one that big." You know what I mean? No, he's Cypher Monkey Cypher, just keeping it 100. So she said, "I've never seen one that big because I've never been with a black guy." We all the way out in Atwater, California. She said she never been with a black guy, so she never seen a black joint, you know? So her girlfriend been with black dudes, the surfer chick like that, you know? But the big light-skinned one, she never been with a black dude. She grew up around white people in this white neighborhood, and she was attracted to white guys. So I guess that's why she busted the door. She wanted to see what the chocolate, you know, shaboing looked like, you know? So she sits there, and we're sitting there talking, and I got my joint in my hand, but I'm nervous because I don't know if she's going to write me up. And that was stupid because even after we just sat there and done what we did, she knew what I did. You know what I mean? But I'm sitting there, and she said, "Let me see it get a little harder." I said, "Oh, my God, she's afraid," you know? So, you know, I got my man, got a second nut with them standing there talking to me in the door. I backed up by the sink and did what I had to do. Y'all in prison, you know how you do with the females, you know? But I wasn't into, like I said, hiding and doing it. So now, we sitting there. But then now, we had another homie, you understand, that used to, you know, didn't care what female he gunned, you know? I'm going to show you what, you know, one of his guns of choice was, you know? Now, could you imagine somebody jacking to this? Yes. This CO had no teeth in her mouth, always sucking on her gums. You understand what I'm saying? Hair never done, always looked like she just came out the shower and always pale. You could tell she never got no sun. And you got dudes that'll sit there and pull their joint out and have sex with themselves. Looking at that. Come on, dog. Come on. You know what I mean? So it's funny because it was another old lady, right? We used to call her Sea Hag. I got to do a whole nother video on her because she was an animal. It was another female there. If you want this video, let me know how soon you want this. Because I got the picture ready for the Jimmy Fingers part 3. I had to find a picture with, you know, the Chinese crew and me up in one of the prisons. But anyway, so it was an old Sea Hag looking chick, and she used to always talk and trash because, you know, dudes would gun her, she'll let them gun her. And she'd be like, "Oh, you ain't big enough. I don't know why you think you're doing that. Oh, I would crush you if I gave you this twat." That's what she called it, a twat. "I would crush you if I gave you this twat. You wouldn't know what to do." And she always talked cold trash. You know what I mean? She said, "Oh, man, if I put this mouth on you." And she was such an animal sometimes because she had teeth in her mouth, this one. You know what I mean? But sometimes she'll just spit her teeth out in her hand like she was spitting out a piece of gum. And the teeth land in her hand and you see her gums and she smile at you and be like, I would suck you in your ball all at the same time. And she talk crazy to dudes. And dudes like the crazy talk even though she was, old and busted and ugly with no teeth. But she was married to another CO that was there. They worked in another jail. They told on the husband told on some inmates and they moved there and was living there and was living in Atwater now. So everybody is enjoying this female's mouth. But nobody wanted to hit it because the body bad, everything bad. She was just an old hag, I'm going to try to find a picture of somebody that looked like her for when I do her video. But this lady was such an animal, and she'll tell dudes straight up, if I give you some of this twat, that's what these white women out there call it. If I give you some of this twat and you don't satisfy me, I'm telling you now, that I'm going to fuck you up. That's what the female is saying. That she gonna mess you up if you can't satisfy her. So dudes talk about, I'll break your back, I'll put you in this position, I'll turn you upside down, I'll do this and that, and they not trying to hear it, Hold on, I'm coming. Say, I'm not trying to hear it, da-da-da-da. And this is the crap that they're going through, And I'm gonna have to tell you part 2 of that, because I gotta do something, just had a little company. But, you want to hear part 2, tap in, man. Let me put the outro on here real quick, man. All right, this is a little Friday night joy for you. Make sure you share this video, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Don't just watch these videos and don't subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. Heat back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. Rush. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squealing to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, you we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend the air. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours. So we can give back to the youth them, cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the rudiments.